Hangtown, man, what a race that was. If you missed my live show, go check it out. I had lots of things to say. As far as riding technique, we're going to go over Deegan, Chase Sexton, Jett Lawrence, and some exceptional standouts. To start off with, how was Chase Sexton so incredibly fast to where he could go from worst to first? Well, watch Barsha come around the finish line jump. Notice, as soon as he lands off the finish line, he starts brake accelerating, where he lands on that rear brake and he's accelerating, dragging that rear brake till midway around the corner. Then he gets off that rear brake. Where if we watch Sexton, what does Sexton do? Sexton comes off, just puts that foot down, coasts for just a brief moment to let the bike float underneath him, and starts accelerating. No need to engine brake, just coast, then accelerate and go. I want to say Hangtown was a man's track out there. You had Tom Vial kicking butt, and you also had Sexton, who was manually over a lot of these big bumps. And this just shows how strong this individual is. Yeah, everyone else was jumping and clearing over this, but Sexton was able to get his front wheel over, and notice he's going to land and accelerate, and that front wheel isn't going to touch the ground until halfway up the face of the next roller double. One of those things that I just was in awe while watching both motos unfold. There's been lots of controversy with Chase Sexton's setup. Is he going in the right direction? Why did he move from an aluminum frame to a steel frame in the KTM? Well, in motocross, that steel frame flexes more. So when the tracks get increasingly rough, it has more feel to it. As we watch Chase Sexton come up this step-up jump, he's going to go around the corner standing on the pegs, and he's going to let that suspension just float underneath him. And this enables him to get less tight and have more energy so that he can continue to keep his lap times down throughout the entirety of the moto. It was these simple things that he's able to do, along with the riding package that he has with Roger DeCoster, that is going to make him a championship contender throughout the entire series. Jett should probably be worried as to what we are seeing with Sexton. Moving on to the best 250 team with the Star Yamaha, we have Deegan here, keeping that front wheel light, coming down the downhill where Jett jettisons himself outside of the points lead. Notice how much Deegan is wheeling over these bumps. If you pay attention to Levi, he's going to fall into the bottom of these holes, where Deegan is going to keep that front wheel light and wheelie over them and make up a considerable amount of time on his competition. And coming into this right-hander, he continues to jump in and keep that front wheel high and land on the first set of starter braking bumps. And this continues throughout the lap, where here's another section where he's manually overing a double, and where Levi is going to roll over some of these big braking bumps. Deegan is at least going to get his front wheel up and over at least the first one. If you're enjoying this content, I know for a fact you'll enjoy Coach Robb Beam's new podcast called Navigating Amateur Motocross with co-host Derek Harris over there, who is an engine builder. They had a special guest who is a multiple factory rider, Andrew Short, and he had some exceptional things to say about how to raise a kid inside of amateur motocross and the do's and don'ts. Make sure you subscribe to Coach Robb Beams for the latest podcasts. Levi Kitchen just impressed the hell out of me just with his consistency. His qualifying times weren't the best, but watch him as he comes from the way inside to get this ass end to spin around and stand up around this really deep rut. He's just able to move the bike where he wants it to go. Wow, just smooth as butter. And then he just sits down after that. I want to say he's got somewhat of a Jason Anderson type style to him, but he's much more laxed and smooth on the bike. And that is an incredible compliment, because Jason Anderson is able to move that bike wherever he wants. It appears as if he's like Gumby on the motorcycle, where that bike just slingshots around and he's just on it as a ride, where he's just a wave. It's just floating around. Where Kitchen has that same effect, yet it's just not as pronounced. I want to say that it just comes across as more effortless than the likes of Anderson. It's pretty to watch. I could watch that almost all day long. Just back that ass up into that rut, slide it in, stand up, then sit down and accelerate. Yeah, on the end, he's dragging his foot, but other than that, that was the best corner I saw of all of Hangtown. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification icon. The champ, the defending Super Motocross, and Supercross champion, the injured rider as of right now. Lars said that it's an injury that should be healing quickly, whatever the heck that means. But in that second moto, Jett was able to do just a few things that just reminded me of his old self. This was an incredibly rough section where the broadcast just doesn't do it justice with how many ruts are here. And watch Jett on the inside, how he's just going to double over some of them. Yes, it's small, but it just reminds me that Jett is still there. Even if he's injured, he can still just maneuver a bike and run off a sheer talent. The back part of the section before the gigantic triple, watch what he does. He's going to seat bounce and just preload this motorcycle and make a lip out of nothing and double it, where every other rider is using it as just 2 bumps. Look at that. Save best for last. Jumps off a darn near no lip and is able to just make that into a double. Sheer talent, this individual. And as always, till next time, keep it WFO. Ba-ra-da-da-da-da-da.